Hello everyone and welcome to the STPL. My name is Kix. Joining me over, I'm not even going to point because I was pointing the wrong way, it's Rapid.
That's right. I'm one of these directions or another. And in truth, you'd be pointing the wrong way anyway because I'm slightly diagonally below you on our planet. And really, our planet is only a place in somewhat three-dimensional space. And so I'm pretty sure you could point in one direction, and somewhere at some point in time, that would be correct, Kicks. So you got that going for you.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a fun day today. We've got iRk versus DM. It's going to be the third place match for round 4, so we're finally almost finished with round 4, and then we can move on to like the grand final playoffs afterwards.
Yeah, but really everybody's just here for the third and fourth place match. Because, like, winning the tournament, but, like, third and fourth place, whew, like, You know, if you're too good at the game, right, it's not a contest. So, you know, it's not a mystery. It's like, oh, well, this guy is going to win the game. I guess he won because he was good. But in truth, the closest teams to each other are those third and fourth place match teams because they were just good enough to get here, but not good enough to win. So the margin of error is actually very narrow, which means that theoretically today's games should be pretty good.
Yeah, well, let's actually have a quick look at both of our teams here. We'll start with iRk. Coming in here, there's going to be a lot of Goliaths coming in back here. He should be building Goliaths off of all of his factories. And I mean, it's going to take an absolute age for these carriers to kill these tanks. And in the meantime, this tank in the front with 3 kills, 5 kills, GG! I know it looks like the units have been cleared in the top left. The base did go down. This base has gone down in the top right though. Medino mining out is going to have to tap out there. GG! He has the engagement he needs. Let's have a look as we go into here. The tank's getting dropped on at the back. A great engagement by the Wolf. The armory, the army of Vulture evaporating, and GG. This is still going to try and hold on. He's got another storm ready, but I mean realistically, what is this storm going to do? It kills a lot of Hydralisks at least, but GG. Starfall to maybe get a drop done, but Oyaji is going in. This is going to be the moment that Scan either holds or Oyaji wins this game. GG!
It's showtime.
Okay, so there are iRk. They did pretty well in round 4 to get all the way to the playoffs, but unfortunately did lose 0-4 to Soul Gaming in their previous game. And that's going to lead us on to our second team of today. It's going to be DM. It's against a lot of Storm. Let's zoom out ever so slightly to see what's going on both sides of this engagement, but that's a lot of Zealots. Look at how quickly they're absolutely decimating everything. And a nice storm does go down to the back. Another nice storm actually going down, but not really storming the clumps. There we go. There's a better storm. Tech with...
Okay, well, everything here is going to die.
Yeah.
This is pretty fantasy GG right here. Well, yeah, you're pretty dead, my dude. GG.
Have enough energy for Maelstrom. Is he going to get it? Is he going to go for the Maelstrom? He does. The Maelstrom goes down. There's no storm. There's a storm now. And that is absolutely huge, killing all of the remaining units of Mitak. And this is going to be the push that ends the game. A storm on the drones as well, just to add insult to injury. And GG, amigo. They actually ran back to defend. And the front has been busted. There's Zealots and DPs in the third base. I think this is done in Kiri with the 3-pronged assault. Gonna take down Medino.
It's showtime.
Okay, so that was DM. DM have been in the playoffs once before, so iRk came second in round 1, but DM have only came 4th, and that was all the way back in round 1 as well. So a little bit of a rematch for these two teams. They played a very, very long time ago, but unfortunately DM lost 0-3 to Naz, which brings them into this series. And if we actually have a look at their matchup, we'll see exactly what's been going on with them. So as you can see, iRk did beat DM. That was back in round 1, I'm fairly certain, which was over a year ago at this point. And both teams have done relatively well. Thanks Unimu for the tier 1 sub, 21 months. I'm sure you did that already, but yeah, nearly 2 years. That's crazy.
Hirmu just likes to. He has multiple accounts. One's Hirmu with an I, one's Hirmu with an L, one's Hirmu with an N, with an RN instead of an M. He's got a bunch of them, and he just likes to have 21-month anniversaries. But yeah, thanks to everybody for the support. And oh boy, you're right. This is a little bit of a rematch, but it has been a very, very long time. And honestly, you expect to see iRk here with guys like DeWalt, who they, for some reason, love playing fourth in their roster. But DM is a little bit of a newcomer to the playoffs, very, very newcomer. And so that, I hope that we have a very close series because DM has been playing very, very well, but iRk are just so good. So I would say that it might be a little bit one-sided.
Yeah, so it looks like Stardom's saying he's one of the players we're going to see first, but he off-raced for this game, so that's fine. Let's actually have a look at the rosters, and we'll have a look at what matches we're going to see today. I'll just remove my key match because I've not actually decided that just yet. But we're going to start with a PBT between Favorite and Aria. Looks like I've already fixed that in my database, I didn't realize. We're going to have a ZVP between Norgrim and White. We're going to have a PvP between DeWalt and Tech, so they're going to send him on their third match today rather than the fourth. Then we're going to have Unko versus Torsan on Great Barrier Reef. Kamizerg versus PRL on Fortress SE. And the sixth game of this best of 7 will be between Oyaji and Zyko on Neo Chain Reaction.
Yeah, and in case you can't tell, we're not used to doing best of 7s here in the STPL, but the biggest thing to take away from this is that there will be a comical number of games. We basically are KSL at this point where we just have so many games all the time. But at the end of the day, this will decide the placements for these teams. And while it's important to win round 4, coming up immediately after round 4 is the Super Grand Ultra Chocolatey Mega Finals for all of STPL, over a year in the making, and that is what, of course, these standings are most important for.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so Aria was playing Protoss, so we're starting with a PvP. In terms of like key match, I think we're going to see Kamizerg versus PRL, because I mean, I want to see DeWalt versus Tech, but DeWalt hasn't, Tech hasn't been doing as well since round 1, so... And Kamizerg versus PRL. Kamizerg, really, really good. PRL, or Pre, I can never remember what it is. Really
keep in mind, I always forget that it's an I instead of an L. Like, although I feel like he's kind of doing it to himself there, using a deliberately ambiguous character, but okay. All right, PRI. It just feels weird because we mispronounced his name for so long.
Yeah, it is. Well, I still say it wrong, and it's still actually wrong in the database because I'm not changing it. But L looks like I anyway, so it's fine. We're all good. No one can tell. So it's Pre. But yeah, it's a weird name. But anyway, let's get in to introduce our first couple of players here. Starting off for iRk, it's going to be Favorite throughout round 1 and 2. He did an incredible job going 4 for 1, and then he sort of trailed off a little bit, but he's not really played too many games recently. I think he's been a bit busy with real life stuff, but he's actually got a 57% win rate, which is quite impressive, and he was one of the only players to beat Richley as well.
Impressive, okay, but is it impressive enough, Kix? What do you think?
Well, I guess we'll have to find out, because his opponent,
yes, we will.
A relatively newcomer to DM. It's actually Stardom. He's like I say old school, but he's been around as long as I have, at least since 2008, I think. He used to be in like the old D-Rank team league and stuff that I was in, but it's going to be Aria. Now, he is actually going to be off-racing as Protoss in this game, which I think is going to give Favorite a little bit of an advantage because Favorite's PvP is actually really quite impressive. So it's going to be a difficult game here for Aria, but as we introduce our first map, we'll see how it's going to go. Okay,
Yeah,
so that is the map. It's going to be Holy World SE. Now, this is one of my favorite 4-player maps we've had in round 4. We've only had one PvP here, so not really too much to say. And also it's PvP. Obviously, low ground mains, high ground natural can lead to some really interesting situations. And the other thing is there is the sort of outsider style minerals that defend not only your mineral only third, but also your fourth base, which has gas added. So we could see a pretty long game here if things go a certain way.
yeah. The only problem is that you can also see pretty short games if somebody wants to go for one of these stupid cheeses where you try to either get behind the mineral lines or go for a drop or proxy a factory or something. I wouldn't expect that here, but you never know until you get into the game. So I'm just excited to start our 3rd and 4th place match. It's our second to last series in round 4 before we start the grand finals. So the anticipation is rife.
Well, let's get going. Okay, starting us off here in the bottom left-hand position, we do have the yellow Protoss fighting for DM. It's Arya.
That's right, and on the other side of the map in the red playing for iRk, it is the Protoss player favorite.
You just beat me to doing that.
Got it.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so let's kind of talk a little bit about this. This is going to be a PvP, so not a PvT like I think it might have said on the overlay. But for the most part, I only care about this map if a Zerg player is playing so they can infest the neutral command center in the middle. But otherwise, this map does play a little bit like Outsider in that you one of the biggest ways to traverse the mineral barriers on the outside of the map is with like a big group of flying units. The only downside to that is that you can also just walk through the middle of the map. Although the rush distance is pretty long no matter where you spawn, so it's not like you're going to get across the map and rush that way.
Yeah, no, I mean the one benefit that Protoss do have is building a pylon to push a probe through a mineral is a lot easier than what the other couple of races have to do. So we could see, especially as the game goes on a little bit later, probes would push around the back. We saw that on Neo Chain Reaction as well. That happened in the semi-finals as well. So kind of cool to see it happen. Obviously, there's the neutral command center. We won't really be coming into it too much here. But we've got Gate and Gas for favorite. Gate and Gas for Arya. Relatively standard mirror builds as always.
Well, I mean, if you're Terran, then you can like float a building to the other side of the mineral wall and make units that way, or even just use mines to push vultures through. And of course, Zergs probably just brush meters anyway. But nice to see some early scouting information here for Arya, who scouts correctly. Favorite is going to be in the dark for a very long time. He is scouting the most incorrectly he possibly could. And so early on, there's not too much information that you really need to get. Mostly just counting things and making sure, okay, there's the correct number of pylons, gateways, cyber cores. Like everything looks the way it should.
Yeah, I mean the main difference you'll see in builds early on in PvP is, unless you're seeing some weird like 12 necks, is whether or not A, they get a Zealot, and B, whether or not they get a second gateway. Now, when you do get that information, you can go for a second gate behind your opponent's one. Obviously that does give you the ability to defend, but if you don't scout it, then you could be in a lot of trouble. Now, neither player is going to have that trouble here for now, but there's still a lot of variations coming. We've got a Citadel of Adun coming in for favorite, so he's going to be going for Templar, and because of the probe in the base here for Arya, he's not actually opting to go for any tech yet.
Yeah, well, that's sort of the mind game you play. It's like it sucks to throw down your tech right in front of a probe, right? But if probe is so good at staying alive, or the player controlling it is good at keeping it alive, then it just delays that tech for way too long, and that can be a big disadvantage. So as is, I think the biggest thing is the Citadel not being scouted here. So once that finishes, we are going to have a big difference, because it's going to be DTs coming out of favorite, which you would think if you get your probe in early enough, maybe it stays alive to find out about. But no, Arya is going to be at a pretty big disadvantage.
Oh, and he's going for his own Citadel, and you know what that means. There's going to be one dead Protoss if this DT manages to get in the base. Now, if he can get DTs up quick enough, he can maybe block his ramp, and he can do that indefinitely, because neither player is going to have any form of detection for quite a while. Favorite might opt to go for a Forge and a Cannon here, we've seen that before. But it gets really awkward, because either, like, you can't really defend against DTs when you go DTs, so he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, so as soon as you go DTs, you go cannons like immediately afterwards. Or if you're going for like a weird slow DT, usually you just get cannons up as fast as you can. So that's why you can see Favorite doing. He's got his Forge on the way, and this looks a little bit like you would expect. Now the weird thing for Arya is get Dragoon range before going for DTs, which is kind of, I mean, not super weird, but if you're going DTs, you gotta go, right?
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a little bit delayed, and you're right, if you can get a DT inside the base, it'll be catastrophic. It'll end Favorite's whole career, or Arya.
Yeah, Arya is definitely going to have trouble here. The Forge hasn't started, the DT is on the way, Robo and Obs Tech is so far away, and here comes the Nexus, and that could be the thing that seals Arya's fate here. Now, delaying the tech was a good move, because he didn't want to give away what he was going to do, but it just delayed him far too much, and here we go, the DT going to go on top of these units, even going to run past, and I think as soon as this gets in the base, we're likely going to see a GG.
I mean, yeah, it has to be a GG here. 1, 2, and that's going to be it. Well,
yeah.
He might actually not notice it for a while. I mean, he's way oversaturated in his main, but not for long.
Yeah, eventually he's just going to look back at his base. 11, 12, oh, this DT is going to kill every probe. And the thing is, even if he gets his own DT, what's it going to do? It can't kill the DT. GG! Arya taps out. Favorite takes game number 1 in 5 minutes 59, 1 second away from the 6-minute curse.
I was going to say, if you guys are subscribed to STPL, you can use that 6-minute curse icon. And if you're wondering why that's there, maybe you're looking through, considering, should I sub, should I not sub? Now you know. Yeah. Now you know. It's real. It's real. We hit these crazy, stupid early cheeses just so often. Every once in a while, we'll just have a whole week where that's all that happens. It's just dumb cheeses all the time. And, you know, there's nothing dumb about winning. But there is a way that you're supposed to go for DTs that involves cannons as soon as humanly possible, Protossly possible, because of that.
Yeah, that can happen more often than not. DTs are kind of the ultimate gamble, but if they pay off, that happens. You just win the game, and there's nothing your Protoss opponent can do, pretty much, because I can't really explain other than the fact that that was kind of a little bit unfortunate for Arya there. But nice try. Was off racing as Protoss, so doing a really, really good job there to actually keep up with Favorite at the beginning of the game with the build. Just delaying his tech a little bit too much to try and hide too much information from his opponent, who was just more than ready to just go straight into DT. So we'll be back with game number 2. It's going to be Norgrim versus White when we get back after this. guys, and welcome back to the STPL, where you're watching the round 4 third and fourth place match, which will decide their positioning in the playoffs and decide the qualification points they get for the grand finals. We're about to watch game 2 between iRk and DM, and it's going to be between these two players right here, and we're going to be starting with iRk's Norgrim. So Norgrim is a pretty cool player. He has been around forever. He used to be on TOT along with Eriador. I believe he was on Templars of Twilight, if I remember correctly. But he's done pretty well. He's got a 70% win rate in the STPL, and against Protoss here, he's actually 4 for 0 with a 100% win rate.
Just to get much better than that. Actually, that's the first. I'm sure you've shown that stat before, but I just didn't necessarily realize that. And if you want to talk about just total wins, he's 5 for 0. So we're cherry picking our stats a little bit here, but he's beaten good players. Sugo, Hirmu, he's taken them both out. His losses to True Touch, it's like, okay, Famasi, okay, like we get it, right? But for the most part, he has been very, very consistent, and I think that's one of the best characteristics to have when you talk about teams and players getting to like deep in the playoffs. You have to have very consistent players, and Norgrim's one of those.
Yep, and his opponent going to be for DM. It's their captain himself. It's White, the guy who always confuses me with my casting White Clan versus DM. But either way, he's not been as successful, but he's actually been a lot more active in the STPL. When you look back at Norgrim's stats, a lot of his games, I mean, in his last 10 games, he's got a game from like, I think it was March last year or May last year or something, and that was against Famasi in round 1, whereas White has pretty much come out consistently every single week for his team, really leading from the front. He's actually 50% win rate against Zerg, so he's not really slouched himself. He's been up against some really strong players as well. And overall, it should be quite fun to see how he's going to do as we get into map number 2. It's going to be New Bloody Ridge. Okay, so New Bloody Ridge, one of the 2-player maps we're going to see today. We don't usually see 2 2-player maps in one series, but we'll be seeing the other one, Neo-Chain Reaction, a little bit later on. But we've had a good number of ZVPs here so far. Zerg are actually 6 for 1 up on this map, with players like Eon Zerg taking down Bonith, Dragon taking down Horotos as well, and Kimchi taking down TT1, and then Jerry also taking down Bonith. So it's been kind of crazy in terms of Zerg versus Protoss here. A lot of the wins have come really early on from some kind of Ling Bust or a Hydra Bust. So we'll have to see how that's going to play out this time.
Eon Zerg versus Bonith is the reason this map is epic to me. Go back and watch that series. You can actually just Google it, and it'll take you to the STPL YouTube, because it's the most recent time that these guys played against each other. It is so sick. So go back and watch that, or in truth, just watch this series, because it is in fact, in general, a pretty cool map. One of the problems that Heartbreak Ridge has is that there's just no way to move around the map unless you go over those Heartbreak Ridges. But with this, you can actually take a long way around. So you can't just like put your lurkers on the ridges and be like, aha, I'm safe, because you won't be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very big path out of the way, but there's also that small path in the middle that really helps Zerglings and Zealots early on. A little bit later on, it becomes more of a problem because your units start jamming up trying to go through there. But there's also the middle base, just in case the game goes on that long. But to find out if that's going to happen, let's get into game number 2. It's Norgrim versus White. iRk, and starting us off in the top right-hand position, we do have in the blue, fighting for iRk, it's Norgrim.
That's right, his opponent on the bottom left-hand corner of the map in the yellow is Protoss. This is white, playing for DM.
Now Norgrim, his EVP, from the games we've seen at least recently, like the one he played on Fortress SE, he took a really hidden third base and just kind of macroed up a lot of units and won eventually that way. Now that becomes a little bit harder on a two-player map, especially like New Bloody Ridge, where there is a relatively easy to take third base, but if white chooses to be aggressive here, it's going to be a little bit harder to play that big macro style. But as I explained before, aggressive styles from Zerg here are also very strong.
Oh yeah, I know for sure. Especially if you want to be a little bit sneaky and hide your lings, you can do it very well on this map. Just put them off the sides of the ridges. Nobody's going to come find you. So for the most part, this is actually a really cool. I mean, they're starting cross positions. Oh my god. No, what's cool about this is that you have the opportunity to get up your first 3 bases, but then at least there's a point where you have to fight against another player because the 4th base is comically far away by ground.
Yeah. Now there is an overpull coming in here for Norgrim, so he's not going to go for 12 hatch, playing a little bit more safely against a possible gateway or proxy gate in the middle. Obviously the Overlord's going to go cross direction anyway, but he will scout that there's no proxy gates in the middle, which is going to be a bit of a relief for him. But white is going to be a little while off of actually scouting here. He's not sent a super quick probe or anything. He's going to actually build a cannon before he scouts. So a little bit of a later scout here for DM, or for white even. He's not going to be able to block anything with this probe, I wouldn't imagine. And there we go, the natural's coming up for Norgrim.
Yeah, so natural on the way. I wouldn't expect Norgrim to go for any sort of early, like 3 hatchery kind of play here. That seems to be basically something only Zerg players are doing if you kill the early scouting probe, or if you are 0 and you just do that strategy every game forever. Still don't know why he's in that funk, but for the most part, the scouting probe is important because it does give you the ability to say, okay, what's going on here? What's the timings? And once you figure that out as Protoss, you're kind of good until see, that's exactly what I was talking about. It's like I was like, well, once you figure out the timings, you're kind of good as Protoss, unless you just lose it for free at 5 seconds.
And Norgrim's going to move up, get that 3rd hatchery at his 3rd base. Looks like they're playing a little bit of chatcraft while they're doing this as well. Norgrim's got a good number of lings heading over the map. 6. Gonna put a little bit of pressure on this wall. It's not tight, I believe, on the right-hand side, if I remember correctly. And this one probe is going to have to do a very good job holding on, because he has only gone for 1 cannon. Could this be another instance of 1 cannon causing the death of a Protoss?
Oh, these 1 cannon Protoss kicks. What wacky shenanigans will they come up with next?
Wow, that cannon's range.
I don't know how. What's the range of cannons? Is it 12? Is it 95? Who knows?
All I know there is that cannon must have been firing long before the ling got away, because that fired like into the main base pretty much. But here we go, 2 lings in the main, gonna get another probe, really nicely done by Norgrim here. And behind this, he's just macroing up, he's not going for any mass lings. And he's forced a cannon in the main base. That is not a position you want to be in as white.
Oh, for sure not. No, anytime you have to build cannons in your main, I mean, it's good if you know your opponent's going mutas, but I think very rarely would you be seeing mutas at this point before you have Stargate out.
Yeah, the Stargate is definitely that thing you'd see to scout, but it looks like we are going to have Lair coming in here for Norgrim. So it looks like he is going to be going for more of a macro style again, very likely going to see a Spire coming up behind this for some Scourge, but he could also skip that, depending on what his links see, because he's even taking down the gas here, and if he gets this gas, there's going to be no tech here for white.
Oh boy, well, yeah, he definitely needs to get that down. Oh, man, I'm waiting to see how long he can keep these lings alive. Thankfully, I mean, if this is such a huge linchpin of your opponent's strategy, getting things in your main, that cannon's going to be pretty good. But unfortunately, if the only mobile unit you have is a zealot, that's pretty bad.
Yep, now we do have another 6 lings on the way here for Norgrim. Still, no additional cannon has been added. The lings in the main base still getting a perfect scout on everything that's going on. He may not be able to get the assimilator, but he is just being very, very annoying. And if that zealot isn't at the front, if there is a gap in the... Oh no, White's actually going to move out with his 2 zealots. This could be a massive tragedy.
Well, he's microing pretty well with those zealots and actually pushes those lings away. You get your 2 zealots surrounded, it's like, what are you doing? Like, how do you like make that work at all?
Yep, but it looks
okay,
like
so he is actually kill the ling.
Yeah, the main thing is
really
Norgrim was doing a massive job microing around in the probes and the natural. Didn't manage to kill too many, only got 1 or 2 I think there, but still, every little bit of damage does count for a lot here, as there's still no additional 4th hatchery for Norgrim. He's actually gone for, still on 1 gas, so Mutalisks are not going to be the order of the day, but he really does need to adding a second, oh there we go, 4th hatchery on the way, 5th hatchery should be coming up soon after.
All right, so we are actually going to have a little bit of a game here. So what's cool about this is that you get a chance to see kind of beyond the Zealots, and that means that we should theoretically be seeing some High Templar a little bit later on. You can see the Citadels coming up, so it's a little bit farther off, so we've got a little song and dance that we have to do. The Zealots run in, the Zerglings run out, and they try to get the Surrounded. That's that Surrounded coming through right here, and he is actually going to be able to pick off a couple of these Zealots very quickly because they did battle earlier on.
Yep.
One does make its way into the main, though.
Yeah,
so
it's very low on health, so
yeah.
1 hit away from death, there we go. Yeah, that's a good cleanup there by Norgrim.
I think it is. He didn't really take any damage. And at this point, as a Protoss player, you got to be thinking, well, I haven't really done any damage to this guy, so he can theoretically just build 1,000,000 drones. And Norgrim does actually have a very high drone count for this point in time. And now he's got this soft contain against the Protoss, who is just really going to have to be thinking long and hard about getting a 3rd base.
Oh, that probe came in at just the right time. The lings could have got into the natural there, and that would have spelled disaster here for White. We do have that 5th hatchery coming in for Norgrim. Hydra's on the way, but +1 has only just now started for White. Very, very late on that upgrade.
So from now on, we're just going to see a total defense from White. Norgrim has the entire map control. He can feel free to drone up 1,000,000 Hydras as much as he wants.
Yep.
And I think he is going the Hydra route. And it's actually kind of interesting. He's getting Overlord speed along with it, even though I guess you might not even need that because you haven't seen this gigantic Corsair count. But it's there. I mean, it's only at 3 right now, but it'll be 4 and 5 here in a second.
Yeah, that Scourge actually went in to try and see if he could get a free hit on that, and also getting a good scout. Doesn't see the Corsairs though, so that is going to cause a little bit of a problem. That Overlord speed, definitely more a precautionary measure here. But the trouble is, White is going to be well, I guess it's kind of constantly behind at this point. He's going to need to make something happen at some point, because the more Norgrim drones, the more Hydras he gets. The only thing White can really do at this point is add more cannons to defend. He's going into his High Templar, he's going into Storm, but that can only keep you alive for so long. And if you get stuck on 2 bases forever, you're not going to be able to beat the Zerg player.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is that anytime you're trying to beat a 3rd player or beat a Zerg player, you need to be a 3rd player. Unless you're going for an early rush, a lot of times you're going to have to make that transition more often or not. So you need a big beefy army in order to facilitate that. He's got one in the air and these 5 Corsairs, but he needs one on the ground. He does have 3 High Templar, but he has no supporting units, and that's really, you gotta have the meat and potatoes of your army.
Yeah, now, I must be blind because, oh there we go, I couldn't see the Cyberdeck score for some reason, but without +1, these Corsairs aren't actually doing all that much. There's only 4 of them. He is going to be able to get a decent scout. He'll see the Catchery count, the drone count, and also the Hydra count, so he's going to be feeling a little bit better here. Obviously he's added on a lot of gateways, so that's going to give him a lot of units very soon. And he will have Storm. Now, the one benefit White does have on this map is the fact that it is going to be difficult for Norgrim to take a 4th base. So, even though he is a base behind, it isn't vital to do too much yet. There's no lurker contained sub, there's nothing too crazy outside of his base, and he still does have the opportunity to make a good timing happen here.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And especially if you get caught being a little bit too greedy as a Zerg player, then there's the opportunity for the Protoss player to just run across the map, get perfect storms, and end the game. But oh my goodness, the Scourge connects so massively. Only 2 Corsairs left over afterwards.
Yeah, that was a really nice split or cloning there by Norgrim, just to get both of those Corsairs, 2 on each, no Scourge wasted. There is actually 6 gateways now, so a lot of units being pumped out, and there is going to be a 4th base coming up here at the bottom right for Norgrim.
Wow. Okay, this could actually be fantastic. If he goes for this 4th base, that could just seal the deal because he'll have more money and supply and production. He can throw away his entire army, remax, and that's just not something a 3-base or 2-base Protoss can deal with. Because White has one job, and that is to get a 3rd base up. And maybe he has a big enough army to try to get out and do that, but it's so late.
You know, one of the big things that Norgrim's done, this is a very strong move and a very clever decision as well. He knows that he lowered the Corsair count, he knows there wasn't that many, and he switched into Mutas here. These 9, or there's 8 Mutas, sorry. They're going to be able to fly around, they'll be able to take down Templar, which are obviously the major, they're kind of like the meat to the army that White has. The Templar are obviously going to be very important. And White doesn't even know these Mutas are on the way, so this is going to be a lot of dead Templar.
Yeah, for sure. And this is that's the Muta's job.
Oh, no.
He's just literally forcing storms on his own units. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is where the problems start to arise here. We're going to see Norgrim be able to take down this Nexus. There's nothing White can do to defend this. And when this happens, I mean, that's a decent storm, but that's another dead Templar of White. He just barely has any units. That's a good storm, though. And those Mutas actually fly in and do lose a lot of their health. A good number of them do go down. This is going to be another load of dead units here for White.
Oh, it sure is. And I think the biggest thing is that White, I mean, how do you recover from this? You just lost the only thing that's really... Sorry, what?
I just said the splits by Norgrim, though, was really good.
Yeah, it was good, right? But, I mean, just consider the units he's splitting with. He has no High Templar anymore. Like, what's to stop? Okay, he has 2 that are getting... Oh, he actually has 2 full energy High Templar back at home. But anyway, like, just having your army reset like that, how are you going to get a Nexus now?
Yeah, it's very difficult. The only option you have is just spam cannons at the top of the ramp. The Mutalist aren't as much of a threat anymore, but just look at the amount of Hydralisks that Norgrim has now. The 4th base is going to start kicking in soon as well, and this is just going to be an insurmountable force. Now, White is going to try and move out on the map a little bit. Maybe he can catch the Hydras as they come through this choke point, but it's just going to be a big sandwich. There's Hydras everywhere.
Yeah, there are, and they're flanking too. So this huge force of Hydras to the north, this might be what just ends the game.
Yeah, because he is going to be... Oh, he's just actually going to run into the natural. We're going to see White try and pull all of his units back. There's only 2 cannons here. And as he moves back, the other Hydras can come in from the side.
Oh man, and the Hydra flank, like I said, he's actually trying... He's caught totally in between. A full surround here from Norgrim. The storms are good, but the Hydras are better. And they just don't stop coming. They're coming from every single direction here, and there's just not enough storm energy.
Yeah, I'm actually zoomed like nearly right out to see just the arc of Hydralisk here. White is losing all of his army and losing the game. GG! White taps out and Norgrim takes game number 2.
Wow, what a game. This is actually fantastic. I'm so happy that we get a chance to watch this level of play here from Norgrim, because it feels like he knew exactly how to handle basically everything there. That final flank with Hydras, just, I mean, that's like something from a cinematic. The poor helpless Protoss player getting overwhelmed by the swarm. Very well played there by Norgrim. And you're right when you kind of preface this game by saying that hasn't been playing incredibly well. Well, Norgrim has been killing it. So very excited to see him come out and maintain that 100% win rate.
Yeah, so we'll be back in just a second with game number 3. It's going to be DeWalt versus Tech, a PvP on Eye of the Storm. Welcome back, guys, to the STPL. We're here for game number 3 of our 3rd and 4th place match from the STPL round 4, and it's going to be between Tech and DeWalt. So really cool to see both these players here, but going to be kind of insane a game as well, I think, because I mean Tech is really good. Well, Tech was doing really well, and DeWalt is just obviously DeWalt. He needs no introduction. So without further, I can't think of the right word, but without further ado, that works. Let's get into game number 3. Just quickly, we'll introduce both our players. Here we go. Walt's up first. He's got a 76% win rate over more than 23 games. So he's won 23 games, 73% win rate. He's 8 for 2 against Protoss players, and in his last 10 games, he's only lost 1 of them.
But what a monster! How do you see that much green on your screen? What a god! This guy is the truth. So don't get it twisted. He's amazing. He did lose last time he played, but I mean, look, Spire's amazing. The player he lost against, and against just about anyone else, he's killing it. So very excited to see DeWalt play here, because he has a chance to kind of send it home for iRk, and I'm glad that they're playing him 3rd and not 4th, so that he can actually make a difference.
Yeah, well, in a best of 7 he still can, but regardless...
Oh, well, that's true. Okay, never mind.
They have been sitting about 4th a lot, but luckily enough it didn't cause them too many problems. They did manage to make it into the playoffs. Unfortunately, they lost their semi-final, but maybe if DeWalt was there in map 3 rather than map 4, we could have seen a different outcome. But his opponent for DM is going to be Tech. Tech was a player during round 1 who I genuinely thought was not going to lose a game, because he was winning so many games. Round 2 happened, he kind of fell off a bit, and he's not really regained his form. Like, most of his wins have actually come from round 1, but recently he played against SFCA from MSJ, from Valhalla team, sorry, and he played against Bosco from Psystorm, and he didn't win those games, but other than that, he's not had the best results. But I mean, he's been up against some of the best players for their respective teams: Sugo, Reina, Cadenti, Bonith, Scan, Kenzie. I mean, those names are not names that are easy to beat, and he has been stuck with a lot of PPCs as well. So, been a bit difficult run for him, but let's see how he does in a PvP against DeWalt here on our 3rd map, Eye of the Storm. Okay guys, so that was Eye of the Storm 4-player map. We've got both our players spawning in the top left and top right, so horizontal position is going to be very good for things like shuttle drops. Obviously you don't have any dead space that you can fly through, but there's obviously a very small distance by air to get to your opponent here. 3rd bases might be a little bit easier on this map, just because you are going to be able to split the map vertically. Your enemy's 3rd base is going to be further away from you than the natural main. So we may see a little bit of a longer game, but obviously DeWalt, one of the strongest foreign players at the moment. So Tech is going to be up against it as we get into game number 3. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we do have the blue Protoss fighting for iRk. It's DeWalt.
And his opponent on the other side of the map in the pink. I'm just going to call it pink. This is Tech playing for DM.
Now obviously we did see a PvP in game 1. That PvP was decided by both players going DT, but one player going DT a little bit later. Now, I wonder what we're going to see here. There's plenty of options. DeWalt is often a big fan of going 1 gate into core, whereas Tech likes going 2 gate. So, what do you think we'll see, Rapid?
Honestly, I expect to see 1 gate all the time, forever. We're gonna say 1 gate core, robo, and then whatever you want to do afterwards. PvP has been defined remarkably by just mirror build versus mirror build for as long as I can remember. So I'm guessing we're just going to see super standard. And honestly, if you are DeWalt, you should be playing that way because you are theoretically the better player. I mean, we just saw those stats. DeWalt's the truth. So you should be playing either as standard or as safe as cautiously as you can because you're more favored to win in theory, right?
Yeah. I mean, that comes in team leagues as well. Like, when you look back in the days of Pro League, like, oftentimes you'd have players like, well, you'd have teams basically building players up to snipe certain players from the other team. Now, that was one of the big problems of being one of the bigger names, although you were always favored. Like, when you look at something like Flash back in Pro League when he first started, he was kind of favored for KT all the time. But then slowly but surely, people would sort of read into what he was doing and start trying to counter him entirely. And that's why during Pro League, he actually had a bit of a slump because he went 14, like, he was doing so well, he was just 14 CCing every single game. And then slowly but surely, people actually realized that and started countering it. Now, unlike DeWalt, Tech hasn't actually got that many broadcasted tournament games. And as far as I'm aware, he doesn't stream. So there is a lot more publicly available knowledge about DeWalt, and pretty much everyone outside of Korea knows how DeWalt plays. So maybe Tech can use that to his advantage and go for kind of a more countery build. It looks like they are both going 1 gate core, but we could see maybe quick DTs from Tech here.
Yeah, we absolutely could. The scouting information is going to be the biggest, thing that tells us what is going to happen. They're both going to start their range, which is in general something you skip if you're going to rush DTs. So I don't think we're going to see them, but we always could. Let's see what happens when this probe gets the info after scouting the base and seeing that everything is totally standard.
Yep, this is going to be one problem for Tech. He does get the probe into the base, which Walt will most likely not be able to. So that's a little bit of a win here, but obviously Tech loses his probe before seeing anything, so both players are technically in the dark. Obviously they do, well, at least Tech does know that DeWalt only has 1 gate. That's going to be a benefit for him. DeWalt knows, I mean, this is how clever DeWalt is, he knows he's not going to be able to get to the base, so he's just sending the probe back to mine.
Yeah, he's like, well, I don't really need this out on the map anymore. He's going to have Scouting Dragoon. He should recognize that should be good enough for at least some soft map vision. Yeah,
the problem is with throwing a Dragoon in like that, though, is if you get caught off guard and lose that Dragoon, all of a sudden that can be the difference between a won and a lost game. Now, a good example of that is it was Yeti versus DeWalt on Katrina SE in round 3, where basically Yeti was super far ahead against DeWalt and he lost like an extra Dragoon, and then all of a sudden things started spiraling out of control, and even though he was on the high ground, DeWalt got incredibly lucky, so he killed Yeti like that. And it just goes to show that DeWalt is known to play that way. He can have a slight disadvantage and still win. So we are going to see Templar Archives coming in here for Tech. Meanwhile, we've got 3 gate Robo coming in for DeWalt. So whether or not DeWalt goes for an observatory is going to be the big question here. I think he will do, though.
You say that, Oh, Kix, you're so good. How did you know?
Well, it's as you said at the beginning, like, DeWalt's going to play the safe style, and that's exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. I totally agree. I think the biggest thing that I just watch players lose to is, hey, I've got a lead, or hey, I'm the better player. Let's play aggressive. You know who does this, who is actually the best player, is Rain. He's not afraid of just throwing down the 2 gate, of just like going for some stupid cheese. We're just like, dude, you're the best. Just chill out, just play it. But he's so much the best that I guess he can get away with that. But in this case, DeWalt is kind of having that attitude. Slow and steady wins the race, and a lot of times the race is to see who can get a Nexus out first in PvP, because it's just so difficult And so for DeWalt, he is actually going to wait for quite a few minerals. Actually, he was just missing a macro cycle. He queued up 3 Dragoons. And I was like, oh, that could be a Nexus. Nope, it's more units.
And this is going to be the big, really decisive moment in this game. Now, Tech is going to try and send a DT around the army, but DeWalt is moving. Oh my god, will that observer see it? It's just out of range. He just sees it. Now, will he go back with this, or will he just push? Because the trouble is, yeah, you've got DTs. Yeah, the DT is going to be able to hold on for a little bit and do a lot of damage back at home. But how are you going to defend against all these Dragoons coming to your base?
Oh, he's glitching out the DT with the Dragoons a little bit accidentally, but still would steal. He is finding a way to get damage done with the DT. Tech is 1, 2, 3, 4, full pull. Actually, I guess that's just the main art. No, it's a full pull. Sorry, I thought he had an Nexus down. But anyway, yeah, he's trying to get away from the pesky DT.
Here, but that's not going to help you.
I thought he queued up another. Oh, he's just dead. But anyway, I thought he queued up another observer, but he didn't. So. Wow, I actually thought that was going to be a little bit better, but instead it was actually the worst, so never mind.
The crazy thing is, in that game, if you go back and look at that from another angle, if those cannons finished a little bit sooner, if he'd gone for another DT rather than a High Templar or even a Dragoon, all of a sudden Tech has like an insurmountable advantage because he's killing most of the probes. So once again, DeWalt with a really good build choice, a really good counter to what Tech was doing, despite not actually scouting anything as well. That DeWalt is just crazy.
I don't know. Yeah, he's unreal. He's too good. And wow, that's gonna put iRk up 3-0 in the series, right?
Yeah, that's 3-0 for them so far. We're gonna get to game 4 when we get back after this. Hello guys and welcome back to the STPL. We're here for a best of 7 between iRk and DM. iRk are currently 3-0 up with DeWalt getting the previous win here. It's going to be a TBT coming up now to see if iRk can clinch out the victory 4-0 or do DM have a little bit of life left. Let's have a look by introducing both of our players. Starting us off, we're going to have iRk's Unko. It's going to be the first game that Unko's actually played in the STPL. Unko's actually one of my CPL coaches, I think, so that's kind of cool, but it's kind of interesting to see exactly how he's going to do here. He's stepping in for SPX, who couldn't make his game apparently, and he's going to be up against Torsan. who's not had that many games himself. He mainly joined from, well, he was there from the beginning. You can see one of his first games was actually against SK Bravo, and that was in April last year. And then he kind of went nearly a year without playing. Came back in March, played in the last 4 weeks of round 4, and he went 1 for 3. So kind of difficult to really explain how this game's going to go.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is that Tosan may have struggled, but you know, he's picked up some kind of key wins for his team. Beat ASY from Rev a while back. I don't know. Honestly, I think we came into this thinking that you know, there's clearly a little bit of a mismatch, and I think you're starting to see why. So I'm just curious if there's anything else that can possibly happen to kind of bring it back for our heroes.
Well, let's get into game number 4. Map number 4. It's going to be Great Barrier Reef. Okay, so that's Great Barrier Reef, the 3-player map of today. One of my favorite 3-player maps in the game, actually. We've had some really, really cool games on this map. In terms of ET... okay, so I think we had someone off racing. I think Unko's Protoss by default. So stats on screen are a bit wrong. We've only had one TVT here. It did go pretty long. It was actually... I'm trying to remember if it was Scan versus Terror was on Whiteout in the Christmas Cup, but either way, it's a really, really cool map. Looking forward to seeing exactly how TVT is going to play out. I've got a general idea. We're probably going to see the map split in half, or as best as you can in half in a 3-player map, but you have the option of expanding around the outside edge of the map, kind of like what we saw on... I'm trying to think of what the first map was we saw. I know it's the other Outsider style one with Holy World, that's it. It's the other Twilight Outsider style map, but Great Barrier Reef was kind of a remake of El Nino, which was a snow tile set map from back in 2009. So looking forward to seeing the TVT here. Let's see if DM have a little bit of life left in them, or is their mind truly disturbed as we get into game number 4. It's Unko versus Tosan. Okay, starting us off here in the top middle position, we do have the Peach Terran fighting for iRk. It's Unko.
And his opponent on the other side of the map in the yellow is Tosan playing for DM.
He definitely... It's weird to say this, I'm probably the only person in the world who will admit to TVT being my favorite matchup to watch. I'm really excited to see... It's weird, because I guess there's never enough TVTs at the pro level anymore, so I always forget that Artosis likes TVT. But...
Well, yeah, actually there's strangely few. I think a very few number of Protoss are of Terran are qualifying for a lot of the tournaments nowadays. Yeah. In fact, just got a chance to see last play yesterday. I'm not going to spoil anything if you missed KSL, but it's so strange how top heavy this is. And everybody likes to meme about, you know, like one race is easier or underpowered or whatever. But every race offers kind of a unique play style at each different level of play. So I think when you play Terran at the very highest level, you are either ungodly good or you just aren't going to qualify. Yeah. We recently saw Light, one of the best TVZ players in the world, race swap to Protoss. I'm just like, okay, well, go for it. I honestly think you just got to get good instead of swapping, but it is very hard to play Terran at the tip-top level. Similar with Zerg as well here. But for TVT, This is an endurance match. This is how fast can you hit the O button? Can you do it a million times? Can you siege, unsiege, over and over and over again? You also got to worry about drops, but it's a battle of endurance. And
it's also very much a battle of wits as well, I would say, with TBT, more so than the other matchups, mainly because TBT is relatively slower, especially as the game goes on longer. Obviously early game it's still fast and you can die really, really quickly to like a massive vulture push or something, but if the game does get into those mid-game stages, it's all about, it's not really a game of chicken, but it's almost like how realistically far forward can I put my tanks and still get away with it, and how few can I leave in certain places and try and move around. And then it really does come into just a pure battling of position.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit like, you know, Zerg, when they're moving their army against Terran, you got to cast the Dark Swarm first and then run your army in.
Yeah.
So a lot of times as Terran, you have to like cast the scan first or move your Marines in first to tank the tank shots and then move your army in. So it's a little bit, there's a lot to do all at once, especially when you're moving your tank line. Because the tank line is this big piece of architecture that you're going to set up, and to undo and then redo that somewhere else repeatedly is just so difficult. You know, we're glamorizing a little bit of a chess-like turn-based matchup, but there is a lot out there for us to keep an eye on. So let's not, you know, forget it just yet.
Yeah, no, Unko is actually going to be going for 1 factory. Oh, he's going for 2 factory even. He didn't pull out all, but Torsan is actually going to scout
this. They're both going for 2 fact. Okay, all right, well, so 2 fact is in general pretty aggressive. Neither one of these players know what a command center looks like, so I'm excited here. This is going to be a very aggressive way to start the game.
I mean, if we're speedrunning the STPL today, I mean, most of our games have been over within the 10-minute mark, so maybe these 2 players want to keep up that tradition. We've got 3 Marines actually pushing out on the map with an SCV here for Torsan, because he does know that his opponent only built 1 Marine before he lifted his barracks. So this 1 Vulture and the 3 Marines are going to be able to go to town on Unko's base. And not only that, Unko actually went for a shot first. So his first Vulture is very, very late.
Yeah, wow. I mean, the shop first I think is better in the overall, because you're just going to be able to get that tech started faster, which is usually speed. Oh yeah, it is speed. But look at what's happening on the other side. Tosan's getting an armory almost immediately, so that's really cool because the Goliaths are really good at picking off mines.
Yeah, Goliaths are also just really, really good against Vultures in general.
Oh yeah, Vultures just in general, sure.
It's kind of crazy. Like, the lower numbers, obviously Vultures do pay off in the long term. You're not spending that gas. But I guess part of the problem is Torsan saw the second factory, but it is possible that he could skip that and go into a wraith. But here we go, the high ground coming in here for Unko, actually getting him a decent engagement, but the 3 Marines going to be adding a lot of DPS. The SCVs have had to be pulled, and just about Unko's going to hold, but that's a lot of lost mining time for someone only on 1 base.
Yeah, and keep in mind, the high ground is the only thing keeping him alive at this point, because there are going to be these Vultures just rallied across the map over and over and over again. And he does have an armory of his own, and I think that might help him kind of bust out a little bit here maybe, but this is just a little bit scary. Unko could be at risk for being the first member of iRk that takes a loss here.
Yeah, now one benefit Unko does have is he did actually go into that 3rd factory, so he is going pretty much majorly all in. Yeah, we are going to see Unko push down the ramp here, but he did have a little bit less Vultures due to the fact he lost the ones at the top of the high ground before, but the production is going to be where it comes in. The target firing not perfect from Unko, but does manage to clear those up, and now he has to worry about the Goliaths.
Yeah, he sure does. The Goliaths, though, I think... Wait, how many are... Wait, does Tosan just have no units?
He's only got 2 Goliaths at the moment, but there's another 2 coming in. But these Vultures, they're
there they are. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be plenty. Pushes the barracks away as well. But he is getting a command center, and that's something that Unko, like I said, he doesn't know what it looks like.
Yeah, he can't really afford it. If you're going for 3 factory early on, like, he's going to save up for a command center now. But obviously, if you're building 3 Vultures at a time, you're not going to be able to break through. And the trouble is, Unko is now forced into going into tanks. He knows he can't catch up with the Goliath count, so he can't just skip to Goliaths and hope for the best. Mines aren't really going to help him too much. He's lost way too many Goliath vultures at this point. And yet he does have the vultures that are left. It's going to be hard for Torsan to push across the map, but he doesn't need to. He's expanding behind this. Wow,
he is. I don't know. All I'm trying to say is this map is a little bit like a rubber band. We saw Tosan get a big army, run across the map, do a little bit of damage, and then Unko does the same thing back to him. But now, kind of economically, Tosan is going to have this expansion up and running, and especially with some of this cute repair coming through, he should be able to defend this pretty well, because there's no way that the mines can pick themselves up out of the ground and run forward.
Yeah. But the problem is, Unko eventually is going to have a good position. Now, both of their supplies are incredibly similar. They're actually only one supply difference, and Unko got a little bit of supply block there, unfortunately. That's going to be a big, big problem in the TVT. But he is going to be able to get his own command center up. That's going to be finishing fairly soon. And as long as he can keep up with macro here with Torsan, he should be in a decent position. Now, it looks like we are going to have the Goliaths going to try and push forward. It is still risky to do, though. Like, Goliaths are really good against mines, but when there's that many... Oops, misclick, but there we go. Looks like he will manage to break his way forward. Yeah. He gets through the mines, using that SUV to block one of the mines there. Really, really cool. But the problem is there are still some mines left.
Yeah, these STV blocking is something a lot of pros are starting to do a little bit more. Especially against Reaver. Oh, yeah, they're going to try to run by. There is a tank at home blocking the ramp. The SCVs are still vulnerable.
Yeah, this is a huge, huge move, seeing exactly where those Goliaths are with those mines. Going to be able to pick off a few of these SCVs, delay the economy here of Torsan, and that's going to give his expansion a chance to come up. He's going into his own refinery, and he has more tanks early on, so these Goliaths aren't going to be able to do anything. But Torsan is in a position now where he can start to look to put on a contain.
Man, this is so back and forth. Now, Tosan, he's got the contain. And this is just so back and forth. Now, this is where your siege lines start to come through. And there aren't really that many tanks for Tosan. He has a lot of Goliaths, so he wants to bulldoze through into the natural. And maybe, but there's 3 siege tanks set up here. He's still going for it, though, Kicks.
Yeah, this is a big, big move. If you can spread well enough, you're in a good position. He does have an overwhelming number of units. The SCV should have been pulled there. But Torsan managed to get on top of this second gas. The tank in the back, not in a good position. More SCVs have been pulled, but a little bit too late here for those. Going to be sent back. And that's one denied expansion here for Unko. But Unko coming back into the natural. Going to see if he can get some of the SCVs. But the Goliath and tank back at home going to be enough to defend.
Yep, they sure will. Wow, what a decision to make. Trying to bust in there? Ugh, that's a head scratcher for sure. Now the SCVs are the MVPs for sure, but actually targeting this tank down, the mass repair doesn't come through in time.
That was because it was the wrong player's SCVs.
Wait, what? I can't actually tell the difference there. They look exactly the same. Am I stupid, Kicks? Okay, I'm stupid. Wow. I thought that they were repairing it, but they were attacking because it's the same animation. Okay, it's not the same animation, but it looks very similar.
Yeah, now we are going to have Torsan send out an SCV to go and build a third base. The gas, or the second gas even, hasn't come in yet for Torsan. So Torsan's mineral gas ratio is completely off here. He can't build any additional factories. He's not going into, or he is going into a starport now. He needs to get his science facility up to get his +2 eventually. But the big difference we've got now is Unko is starting to go into dropships. And because Torsan lost so many Goliaths, all of a sudden, he doesn't actually have that much anti-air, so the drops could be a big, big power play here.
Yeah, wow, they actually really could. This is so cool because it's just like slugfest, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I love this command center coming down. It's a little bit sneaky from Tosan down at the southern side of the map. But yeah, this drop could be really, really surprising. There's nothing to see this coming.
Yeah, and luckily for Torsan, his units aren't too far forward. He does have a lot of vultures without speed out in the middle of the map with a few tanks and Goliaths. So, I mean, Unko's going to be able to do a little bit of damage here at the very least. He's not bought Goliaths with this though, so The Vulture's not really going to do that much. The SCVs have been forced to pull. That's going to delay the economy once again. And I mean, he could, if he wanted to, try and maybe focus this armory down. But it looks like +1 did finish just in time for both players as well.
Ooh, well, this is just quite scary, Kicks. The drop being neutralized isn't even like what. It's not even going to stop it from being scary, because we still have both players with decent armies on either side, and the drops aren't going to stop coming just because one was stopped.
This is one of the major things with TVT. It's not so much the fact the dropship it's not the fact it gets away, it's the fact it still exists. It means you're always going to have to leave at least some units back in your main. Now, luckily enough for Torsan, he's not too worried about Unko pushing too far out on the map. He knows that Unko doesn't have a massive amount of supply at the moment. He's had a lot of scouting opportunities the whole game. Now, Unko's going to be expanding as well, but he's taking a mineral only. And for someone who's going for dropships, Goliaths, and tanks, that's not really the expansion you want. You need that other gas.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, God,
the biggest
that could be bad. I'm just looking at the mine over by all those units.
It's so close. I thought it was like allied mines or something, right? Because it's just comically close. And then one vulture like runs up and okay. Well, I mean, vulture's not going to trigger it, but like a Goliath or something.
Yeah. I've had that happen to me, and it's the most frustrating thing ever. But here we go. Looks like we are going to have a counter drop here coming in for Torsan. The first two vultures get cleaned up immediately, but he's not going to have anything to clean up behind his mineral line, and that's going to be where the big damage is.
Oh my goodness. Oh, look at this drop getting in. The siege tanks are sieged. Goliaths are out there buffering in front of them. Finally, Unko found the weak spot. Well, I guess it was always the weak spot, but it's even weaker this time around, and he's really exploiting it.
Yeah, now he wasn't attacking with both of his units, but it looks like we are going to have a drop in the main. That was hard to see on the minimap, but a lot of these supply depots being targeted down. The three Goliaths doing a really, really good job taking out all of those vultures. And Unko
on the other side,
in a great position.
Yeah, Tosan tried to drop behind the mineral line at the natural on the other side, and he dropped into siege tank fire. Everything died. He lost the dropship. It was total tragedy. So a massive, massive disparity here. With Unko ravaging the main, I think iRk might just be taking the 4-0 Kicks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not over just yet. Torsan does still have a third base, but losing all of these supply depots incredibly annoying. The command center is actually going to be in contention here as well. Now it looks like in retaliation, Torsan is going to try and push through the middle of the map. He's not going to defend. But there's another drop coming in. Well, that's not another... Well, it was another drop actually. Dropping on top of the factories this time. Torsan can no longer produce. And his units going into the main SCVs, Goliaths there to defend. And Unko takes game number 4.
Ooh, wow, that was pretty scary, but at the same time, I think everybody, knew iRk was the stronger team, and for Unko to kind of finish that off, the icing on the IR cake, it is a very impressive 4-0 indeed.
Yeah, now there was another couple of games played, so as it's the STPL, and every game does count towards the statistics, we'll get into game number 5 when we get back after this short break. Okay guys, welcome back. Looks like I need to reopen Rapid's camera. There we go. We're in the round 4, 3rd and 4th place match. iRk just took the series 4-0, but we've got one more game here to show you. It's going to be iRk's Oyaji versus DM's Zyko. So let's have a quick look at our players. So starting here for iRk, it's going to be Oya or Oyaji, meaning like old man in Japanese. So I don't know if that's why his name is that, but it's a cool name regardless. He has been doing really well in the STPL. He's not played as much recently, but in round 1 and 2 he was a linchpin for iRk's roster. He's got a 64% win rate with 9 games won, and he's 4 for 3 against Zerg.
4 for 3 against Zerg is not, an overwhelming strategy, but he is a very strong part of iRk. And his opponent I don't know as much about, but I would say Oya should have a pretty good shot here.
Yeah, I mean, Zyko's only played 1 game in the STPL. He beat Mitak. That was back in March this year, so he's a relatively new addition. His ELO is actually 2017, which is kind of funny, almost the right year, but he needs two more ELO for that. But regardless, let's get into our next map. It's going to be our final map of today as well. It's going to be on Neo Chain Reaction. So Neo Chain Reaction is a 2-player map. You've got the 3 and 9 o'clock spawns. There is lots of paths around the outside of the map. Lots of cheeky ways you can get around, lots of cheeky ways you can do damage. We saw DeWalt get taken out by Spire on this map when Spire mined out the minerals by the temple behind his main and just killed him with hydras. It was crazy.
Disgusting. A dirty Zerg player back at the old shenanigans again. Honestly, you kind of get left with egg on your face because it's like, well, that's a mechanic. If you're gonna get cheesed, that's how it's gonna happen. Actually, There's a lot of destructible. There's 3 destructible buildings that can be destroyed, but well, I mean, they're destructible anyway. That's what they're there for, to be destroyed. What is my purpose? It's to pass the butter. What is your purpose as a building? It's to be destroyed. I'm like, okay, well, this is just a little bit dystopian, but the idea is you gotta keep an eye out on a lot of these weird map features, but it is a cool facet of Neo Chain Reaction.
Yeah, so let's get into game number 5. It's Oyaji versus Zyko as we get on to Neo Chain Reaction. Okay, and starting us off here in the 3 o'clock position for DM, we have the yellow Zerg player, called Zyko.
Yeah, he is on DM, and his opponent's on iRk. Surprise!
Yeah.
I don't even know why we do these intros anymore. His opponent's Oyaji, or Oya. He is a very, very strong Protoss player, and so I don't want to keep saying, well, iRk is the good team and DM is the bad team. It's like, they're not bad. They qualified for like the finals. Like what? Or I don't know, or semifinals. But I do feel like this is the first time that they've been here, and so
second for both.
Well, second since season 1, right?
Yeah.
Or round 1.
For both of them as well, which is kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, well, anyway, my point is, it's been a while.
Yeah, and iRk in round 1 to get into the playoffs, they beat Soul and White, the only clan in round 1 who managed to do that. So iRk as well, their rosters kind of got stronger and stronger as the STPLs got on. They picked up Marwin, they picked up SPX, they picked up DeWalt from SK Alpha when they disbanded. I mean, iRk have easily one of the strongest teams outside of Korea right now. And DM, they've got a lot of strong players individually. As a team, they work really well, but against some of the titans of the STPL like iRk, they've certainly shown a little bit of a struggle here. You can see with how some of these games have gone. Now, obviously, the last game, Unka versus Torsan, was a lot closer, and it was really, really cool to see, as well as game 1 as well. Both of our mirror matchups from today. But unfortunately, the dice rolls didn't go in DM's favor here. and that's obviously led to iRk being 4-0 up in this best of 7.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as best of 7s go, iRk is killing it. But you know, they had an 0-4 exit from the semifinals to get here, so it's not like they are just not, you know, they're just totally invincible. So anything can happen. Just have to say that every time. As a caster, it's my job.
Yeah, it's kind of what we're here for. Obviously, we have all the statistics and everything, which is one of the things I've kind of prided the STPL for, because not many other people gather all this pointless information, but it kind of helps build a story overall. Now, in terms of the story of this game, we've got iRk playing very standard, going forge, fast, expand, into one cannon, into one gateway, and he's up against 6 lings. So let's see if Zyko can do some damage here. Now, Zyko's ling's getting a little bit confused for some reason. I think he's going around to block this probe. Look at that. Oh,
no way. Okay, yeah,
okay.
I knew it. There's no way a Zerg player means to do that.
That'd be
unless you're
sick.
just, you know, that would actually be, that would be so sick. That would be incredible.
Oh my god,
there are probes pulled in time. So wait, what? Oh no, is he gonna do one of these like mole Zerg strats?
Mole Zerg. That's really good.
Yeah. So it's where you get, it's this is what Effort did to Flash in the finals, or the ASL finals where they played.
Oh my god, here he goes.
Where
He's gonna see if he can break through.
He runs in, and then right as your Zergling's about to die, you can burrow them. And what this does is it means that there's no way to just chase it around and kill it with a Zealot. These Lings are always going to be in your base, and I think this might just be too much damage. Wow, none of those probes are dying. What?
Yeah, I think only 2 probes went down. You're gonna lose your main Nexus though. And obviously that's 400 minerals, which at the beginning of the game you can't really afford to replace, but he can't do anything about this. Luckily enough, he has his buildings in his walls, so that's going to help him. But what are you going to do about the lings in your base? Are you just going to leave them there forever? Are you just never going to take your main again? That's really the only option he actually has. And he's going to be up against Burrow as well, so even if he tries to go and kill them, he's not going to be able to do it. Look at this, the probe's going to be pulled to try and help with this. And as soon as that Burrow button gets hit, that's going to be it.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, watch this. They just hit the Burrow. It's so crazy how good Burrow is at specifically this time.
Yeah, because he has no mobile detection. He's not going to want to go into a Robo. He's going to want to go into Templar. So he is pretty much for the next, I would say about 5 to 10 minutes, not going to be able to take his main again, because just a single link borrowed is going to block the Nexus forever until he can get an Observer down there. Unless he wants to cannon push, but that's a lot of wasted time, a lot of wasted money. I mean, Zyko back at home, he's just starting to drone up, he's going into a lair now. And I mean, what's the plan for Zyko here? I mean, Yaji obviously, he's on one base, but realistically his economy's decent.
Yaji. Yeah, you're right there. He did save a ton of his probes, so cool, right? Sick, killing it. But he has no Nexus. He's got burrowed lings there. And actually, in truth, the burrowed lings could just run up the ramp into the natural.
Yeah, there's only one cannon. I think he thinks there's more cannons up there or something. He doesn't want to push in for whatever reason, but oh my god, here we go. I'm going to watch this through Yaji's like vision here, because he's going to move in. Okay. He's going to be running around. He's going to be like, Where are the lings? Where are the lings at? Where are they?
Which way did they go? I don't know. I mean, he'll figure it out eventually. It's not rocket science, but it is just kind of comical to watch these dumb zealots. These are the stupidest zealots. These are the guard zealots from like the Home Alone movies, right? This is like Harry and Marv zealots. They just have no possible clue what's going on. It's like, I know they were here. Did he research Overlord drop and pick them up to save the lings? Is that what he did? What a god.
You know, Overlord drop in this situation actually really good. There's nothing behind the minerals. Oh my god, here come the lings. The zealots are all out. The lings are going to jump on the cannon. There's going to be nothing here to detect.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my god, the ultimate bait and switch with that burrow. The zealots actually just thinking, well, there's no way there's lings in the base. They must have gone. So he's going to go for a counter. The lings are burrowed once again. The cannon is coming up though. And although
these Stunkets gonna finish in time? Yeah, there's gonna be 2 Stunkets here, so goodbye, Zealots. Wow,
That
It's
took
actually
4 hits
unreal to
and
me how
survived.
Zyko is just in such complete control of this game just from minute one. What a monster.
Yeah, now he's going to try and get in on that cannon again. This isn't going to work, but if he pulls away, maybe he can take out some of this tech. But looks like he's going to be heading straight back into the main again. Let's see if... Okay, he's going to burrow. Let's see if this zealot work... Oh, he must know what's going on now. He's seen the burrow, but this zealot is kind of funny. He can actually just go and kill that zealot with 4 lings. Oh, but the second zealot now, he's fine.
Well, tell me more out. He's fine. He has burrowed lings on his dead nexus. There's a probe that even wants to try to expand. Oya's not out of this game just yet, but he should be.
Well, Zyko to do this, he really did take a massive hit to his economy. He still does not have any drones mining minerals at his natural. He's built 2 Mutalisks. 2 Mutas. Oh my god, there's a DT on the way. Oh, there's 3 Mutas, but one of the Mutas is... Oh, there's actually more Mutas than I thought. Zyko is definitely in a good position.
you don't say, Kicks. He's got more Mutas coming across the map. He's got another 3 in the middle of the map. So, yeah, the Mutas are just gonna... They can just walk on top of this cannon. There is nothing that Oya can do at this point. Zyko bringing it back for DM, getting themselves a little bit of a moral victory.
Yeah, now that final cannon is gonna go down. Unfortunately, there's not much he can do. GG, Oyaji taps out, and Zyko takes the final game for DM.
A nice moral victory, like I said there at the end, and very well executed. It's not often you get a chance to see early burrow be used that iconically.
In a CVP as well.
Yeah, in a ZVP, but it's a little bit more of a win more kind of move. Because honestly, when you get that many lings into your base, they kill your nexus. Any Zerg player in the world is totally happy with that. You don't have to have burrow. But the addition of the burrow meant that there's no way that Oyaji could re-expand back to his main, retake that, and then continue to play the game. He was just always stuck on. Super go-to play there by Zyko, and well-deserved there. Picking up a win in the end, but overall, iRk smacked 4-0, or I guess 4-1 in the to win the series and take 3rd place in round 4 of the STPL.
Yeah, so let's actually quickly have a look at the results. We'll see exactly how that series went. Obviously, really nicely done by Zyko at the end. I mean, if I'm thinking about one matchup you wouldn't think Burrow would do anything in, it would probably be ZVP because cannons exist. But unfortunately, he couldn't block his main. But here we go. Favorite taking out Arya in game number 1 in a really close PvP. Norgrim taking out White on New Bloody Ridge. And Norgrim just pretty much demolishing his way through with just an insane amount of Hydros. A great concave, just pretty much surrounding all of White's army. DeWalt taking down Tech on Eye of the Storm. That was a pretty close game as well, although it didn't really look like it. Things could be a bit different if there was a few extra cannons. Unko taking down Torsan in a really cool back and forth TVT on Great Barrier Reef. And finally there on Neo Chain Reaction, Zyko took down Oyaji to win that, as you said, moral victory. The win of pride there for DM to give them a win in the 3rd and 4th place match.
Yeah, well, excellent summary there, Kicks. In the it is iRk that take 3rd place, and I think very well deservingly so. I don't know exactly what to expect from our finals match tomorrow, but I think that those games we could actually go all the way to a 7-game series. Actually, is it tomorrow?
It is tomorrow. It's going to be at the same time. Possibly a little bit earlier, possibly a little bit later, depending on how things go, but the TL calendar will be updated. Everything will be shown off on the Twitter, which you can follow on /STPL TV. That's the same for YouTube as well, if you want to check out any of the previous VODs. Now, I do have a list. I'm just going to turn off your camera for just a second, just while basically what I'm going to do is bring up the games for tomorrow. I'll let everyone know who's actually playing as well. So tomorrow for the playoff finals, we are going to have, hit you again, it's going to be Tai2 versus Terra on Holy World SE, Zealot versus Dragon on New Bloody Ridge, Bjol versus Sugo on Eye of the Storm, Spire versus Eon Zerg on Great Barrier Reef, and Scan versus Demurity in the TBT on Fortress SE, and finally it's going to be Dandy versus Kingdom on Neo Chain Reaction. So kind of crazy games tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think anybody could really predict that. If it was a TL article about this, I would love to see those predictions, because they're coming from somewhere, Kix. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it is going to be really cool to watch, because this is, at least for the most part, the kind of grand culmination of this entire round, and then we get the big super ultra grand finals at the end. So all the STPL content from now until the very, very end is going to be amazing, so you guys don't want to miss.
Yep, just quickly to sum up tomorrow as well, just to kind of give you a bit of history on the playoff finals. Until this point, round 1 was a 6-0 victory for White Clan, and then after that we had Net Wars against White. That was 4-2 in favor of White Clan, and then it was 4-2 in favor of Soul against Net Wars in round 3. So we're going to have another 4-2, or are we going to go to the ace match? There's only one way to find out. Tune in tomorrow, same time, same place, for more STPL.